If you're anything like me, I do not like sitting through long periods of consolidation. Within 15 minutes, that trade should be rapidly accelerating in my direction, or else I'm willing to cut that trade. In 45 minutes to an hour, the trade should be complete and done with. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to locate, identify, and trade this style of trade so that you can be successful on a daily and weekly basis. Before I get started, down in the description below is the link to my Pips to Profit indicator. It is a free, all-encompassing indicator for this style of trading, as well as the link to the Discord, which has around 1,000 members right now. It is a fast-growing community of like-minded traders. Leading up to this point, we've already talked about 3-day cycle, weekly cycles, all these different things, and I've been trying to lead up to this point so that the information leading into this style of trade makes more sense, okay? These parabolic moves are extremely misunderstood. There's a lot of things that go into identifying them, and even though there's a lot of things that go into identifying them, they're very simple to understand. So I'm going to go over all of these slides. Please, if you're watching this, do not skip anything. Just get out a pen and paper and write some of this stuff down. The slideshow is down in the description as well, so you can take this and hold on to it and look at it whenever you need to. Parabolic moves, whether it's straight up for parabolic, capitulating moves that, obviously that's going down. I'm starting off with the parabolic moves, and I'm going to, before I start reading anything on the slide, I want to bring our attention down here. Thinking about a parabola, right? I'm not going to pretend to be some mathematician, because I'm not. Trading doesn't exactly take anything above third grade math. But thinking about the curvature of these parabolic moves, right? When you look at the chart, have you ever noticed that price is curving in a certain way, and then it just accelerates very quickly on that last leg and explodes? Okay. So, looking at this picture, we've got the base and then the curvature. Obviously, you can see the little points that are touching, and it's accelerating in a direction. And then over here on the chart, you can see something very similar. Don't worry about this yet. I'm going to get over that in a second. But you have a curvature of price action that accelerates and explodes in that last leg, okay? The concept of this can be used through a lot of different time frames. Markets are fractal. Some of the things that I have on this slide that are important. Parabolic moves are dragging shorts in the opposite direction. Thinking about, they're squeezing people out. They'll make the market appear to be going back down, and then it just won't. And it'll just keep on dragging and dragging and dragging. And then all of a sudden, boom, there goes your whole account because you kept on adding into a loser. Parabola in mathematics is a U shape. Okay, so like I said, no mathematician, but you just Google the word and that's what comes up. But in regards to trading, price appears in the same manner, a U curving upwards and accelerating in the upwards direction. Now I am going to draw your attention back to what I have over here. This is peak formation high, valley low, peak formation low, whatever you would like to call it. And then everything on the inside of this, we've started trading on the inside, okay? Notice that they've come up and they put a new higher high. And then from there, they continue to break out and break out and break out until finally we get a parabolic channel, which this whole thing is a parabolic channel. But you have a smaller one right here. They manipulate that range and they accelerate to the upside. Look at the picture that's down here. Same exact thing. Now, identifying the parabolic trade before it happens. That last high, you just heard me speak about the valley low and the peak high. And anybody who was in my live not too long ago heard me say that if I see this pattern, right, or this chart in general, right, this is the EuroCAD, this is a 3-minute chart, you can identify this on any time frame. It could be on the 1 minute, you can identify it on the 15-minute, but the valley low, the peak high, the consolidation on the inside of that high and low, and then the manner of which that price action begins to present. Consolidation inside, ascending support. So that's kind of one of my characteristics for this trade. All right, peak formation high, valley low, also peak formation low, whichever you'd like to call it. Consolidation in between the two formations, so just like we have here. With ascending support. just as such. And I like to see this. I like to see ascending support and then manipulate that to get people to go short, and then they just take it away from them, right? So if they wanted to roll over here, they would have just rolled over, but they didn't. So, what is that telling me? What am I looking for? I'm looking for this peak high, peak low, ascending support. They've manipulated that range. Good stuff. We have a parabolic channel now that's ascending, coming into a session. Note the violent move down just before or just prior to the vertical move. They manipulate the range once more just before going vertical. I've heard things said like, bad traders have a really good habit of exiting the market just before the market goes in their favor. And that's what people are referring to, and that's what I'm referring to here, is they get people either stopped out, it's a stop hunt low, or scare people out of their positions just before the market goes vertical. And that's exactly what you want to see. I meant to say consolidation will occur under a high before the explosion upwards. So notice that we have a high formed right here, and then we've gone into consolidation just under that high for the explosion back up through that high. And you're going to see that a lot where they consolidate under a high, and you're maybe looking at that like, oh, I'm at the high, I don't want to go long. But if you understand the trade setup, then things become a little bit more clear. More often than not, there will be some sort of violent pullback just prior to the upwards thrust. And of course, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, just real quick, chances are if you've made it this far in the video, you probably like it. So please hit that button, subscribe to the channel for more, and enjoy the rest of the video. I want to take you through the exact process to find these trades so that you don't necessarily think that every single time you see, oh, there's a high and there's a low, I'm in a parabolic move. No, that's not how this works. But you do want to look for peak high, peak low, and then see how are we reacting in the middle of that consolidation, right? Notice here we do have a peak high and a valley low. This is on a 3-minute chart. And then over here, you can see my day separator is very faint, but we've gone into consolidation in between that high and that low. And then what happens? We start getting ascending support. They break out of a high. They split that range in two, and we get our parabolic channel. They manipulate the range, and then they go vertical, okay? Exactly what I was talking about on the previous slide. Stop hunt to the low of the parabolic channel before that vertical move. Split the range. Perfect. That's exactly what you want to see. You want them to be breaking out in violent pullbacks to get people to, first off, this gets people in long early, and then they manipulate that, stop everybody out, get people to short, and then they rip it away from them as well and take it back in the other direction. Now, you have a peak high and a peak low, or a valley low. Additionally, you have valley low and peak high. So now you have a high and a low within that high and a low, giving you a smaller box to work from, okay? Not every single swing is going to be a peak high, valley low, okay? Just look at the chart and identify the important ones, and you can see them. They'll stand out to you, okay? If you can't instantly see the pattern, then move on. But in this case, you can very clearly see the pattern. Identify a market that has presented an obvious peak formation high, valley low. Yes, I'm aware. I need to put the ED on there, okay? Identify a market that has presented an obvious peak formation high, valley low. Peak formation high, valley low, peak formation high, valley low. Mark off the consolidation at the end of the day, the last swing high and low of the US session. Okay, that is what this line here is. That is what that line there is. So now we have our peak formation high, valley low, peak formation high, valley low, end of day consolidation right here and right here. And then everything on the inside of that is on the inside. Observe to see if the market splits the range and consolidates on top. They split the range. They broke out now of a smaller structure within the smaller structure within the larger structure, okay? And I know that might sound a little confusing, but just follow along. Observe to see if the market presents a parabolic channel. I'm giving you a checklist, okay? This is in order. You want to see all of these things. Parabolic channel, there it is right there. Your ascending support and your channel leading up. Look to enter on the stop hunt back down against the parabolic dragging trend. Look, creeping trend, they're dragging people, making them think this is going long. And it is. But you just have to be patient and wait for the signs to present so that you can enter in at the appropriate time and not become a part of the liquidity pool. Using a range expansion tool, identify 2 full expansions of the day consolidation and look to take profits in those areas. Now, sometimes those will be very large and they're not practical. So you can take a range expansion tool from this high down to this low and identify some targets. Or you can take a consolidation that's a little bit smaller and identify some targets that way. All right, range expansion tool being 100% expansions of a range. I just modify the Fibonacci settings to appropriately reflect that. Now, I've already given you a checklist of exactly what you need to look for. And then it's just about being patient and waiting for your session. In this example, I'm on gold, a 3-minute chart. This is peak formation high, and then in previous sessions over here, we have a valley low. Now, we've come down and we've started our ascending support, and you can see that this is in a channel that just hasn't completed, right? We have a high right here, and we have not taken that high out yet, which is a little bit suspicious, okay? Now, look at the times down here, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. We'll just come straight up from there. 8 o'clock is the beginning of my New York session. 1, 2, 3, into the New York session open, engulfment. That's a pretty aggressive entry. What if they spike down? Now, they did spike down and take out this ascending support. They didn't spike below like I normally would like to see over here, which you can see did reverse. But if you wanted to take a first hour entry, engulf, 1, 2, 3, engulfment. That's my entry. I got my stops down here, no more than 25 pips. I get my 50 very quickly. They spiked down lower. There is a re-entry at the 3rd hour, 10 o'clock. They spiked the ascending support. So everybody who went long in this, if you haven't taken the money off, they come back to get you, and then they go long. Okay, so something to think about. I've gone back to the first slide where I started to talk about parabolas and parabolic moves. And I just want to lay out a few more things for you so that this can be understood multiple ways, okay? Notice my day separator. So we had a peak formation high, peak formation low on a daily level. This is a daily peak formation high, peak formation low. There can be within this, and I can see them, peak formation high, peak formation low, trade on the inside of that. So within the larger peak formations, there's going to be smaller ones, okay? You have to identify those and have a larger thesis based off of the 3-day cycle, signal days, and then, of course, this parabolic pattern. Within the day itself, you can have peak formation high, peak formation low, a 3-session setup where you get, let's say, Asia was peak formation high, London was valley low, and then New York trades back into that or something to the nature and starts ascending, right? So maybe something like this. We have ascending support, we get the manipulation, etc. The point I'm getting across is you can have peak formation high, peak formation low on the previous day. You could have it within the current day. And that could be like your 3-session setup. Up until this point, we've been hitting only parabolic moves, but now I just want you to flip it over in your head, all right? Because the same exact things that apply to parabolic moves apply to capitulation style moves, which you could also, consider a parabolic move just, to the downside. Just flip the U over. Now, this is gold. This is a 3-minute chart, and I'm not trying to fool anybody, okay? I just took this and I used the invert chart so that you can see that it's the exact same thing. Peak formation high, peak formation low, valley low, consolidate the market, breakout pullback, descending channel, capitulation move. I just mentioned a couple slides ago that in combination with the 3-day cycle as well as other signal days, this can become far more powerful. Peak formation low, peak formation high. That's what you want. Consolidation inside. Day 2 turns into an inside day. Okay, we have an inside day. What happens with inside days? They're either a breakout that's failed and it will roll over. That's the inside day false break reversal style of trade. Or you get a breakout of that inside bar on the daily chart and it begins to trend. Okay, so now I just need to see proof that it's going to do one of those things. On the following day, you have ascending support, a parabolic channel, and you have the trend model, day 3, trending, parabolic move up. And then you just take your range expansion tool to find your targets. Now, there's a lot more to be said about these trade setups, but this is a great introduction to them just to help you at least grasp and start to understand what you're looking for. My next video, I am putting together a all-encompassing, all-in-one, every trade setup that I've already talked to style of video with logged video of me taking these trades, so that way you can have the setup as well as examples of somebody entering in on the trade. I hope this video has been of benefit to somebody. If it has, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more. You'll have a wonderful day.